The 2018-2019 season presented Real Madrid with many challenges, replacing Cristiano Ronaldo's output chief among them. After a summer with few realistic transfer targets, Florentino Perez and Julian Lopetegui decided that they would have to make do with what they already had. They, along with a fair share of fans and pundits, theorized that the absence of Ronaldo would create a collective environment where everyone could increase their shooting and goal-scoring production. Needless to say, it didn't pan out that way, as quality shot production is a skill in and of itself, and not something that can simply be distributed like candy. The summer of 2019 has presented better options for Madrid, and Florentino has set his eyes on Luka Jović, a 21-year-old striker that will be tasked with replacing some of Ronaldo's lost output. Based on what can be drawn from his 2 seasons in the top flight, it looks like Jović can live up to the challenge. In his short career in the Bundesliga, the Eintracht Frankfurt forward has managed to average 0.66 non-penalty expected goals and 3.82 shots per 90 minutes alongside a fairly average supporting cast. His shot locations hint at the style of a penalty box predator, but a closer look at the film shows that Jovic's game is more expansive than that of a poacher's. In Frankfurt coach Adi Hutter's 3-4-1-2 formation, Jović was given target man duties due to Hutter's Pablo Machin-esque emphasis on high-tempo play, directness, and marauding fullbacks. This was despite Jović not being a target man at all. Jovic's awkward fit for the role was most evident on goal kicks, where the 5'11" striker failed to get off the ground to contest, didn't box out the man behind him, and was dominated by bigger defenders. Yet, Jović made it work in other situations. He turned his supreme heading skill and chest control into passing weapons, allowing him to thrive aerially in open play situations. He loves using all parts of his head to guide direct balls to proximate teammates and is sublime at taking full advantage of his broad chest to make one-touch passes. On the ground, Jović is less stellar but still capable. His bread and butter is pulling out of the opposition midfielder's cover shadow by drifting into the half space, where he receives vertical passes. After a crisp first touch, he's primed to play the ball out wide to a winger or unrushing fullback. This, along with his heading ability and chest control, makes him valuable outside of the box and more versatile than the average poacher. But he's not close to peak Benzema's influence either. When Jović gets on the ball in situations where he can't simply play layoffs, he struggles. His first touch becomes more erratic, and his lack of close control and rigid, upright ball-carrying posture makes anything other than a simple cut away from defenders look a bit awkward. This is why he had 3 unsuccessful touches per 90 and completed only 1 out of 1.8 successful dribbles per 90 in the Bundesliga. As a result, Jović relies on banging defenders up when played into attacking duels. He likes to throw his hips into challengers and shield the ball with his good core strength. When asked to pass the ball to players ahead of him, which happens primarily on the counterattack, Jović is a bit out of his element. His vision is weak. When receiving the ball in the half turn, he takes 2 to 3 seconds to evaluate his options and pick out a pass. By then, the window for a high leverage dagger pass has closed. Elite creators evaluate their surroundings before they even receive the ball and react to gaps in milliseconds. Jović also struggles with his passing accuracy and generally fails to complete difficult passes even when he sees them. The one exception is his affinity for the switch pass. When Jović gets positioned between the lines, in space, he is very comfortable playing quick long balls over to either flank with both feet. These types of issues are common for forwards, even the best ones, but they do pose an interesting challenge for Jović in the context of Zidane's system. Because he favored utilizing overly deep and flat midfield structures, Zidane relied heavily on Benzema's ability to act as a false 9 and connect midfield to attack. This is why the in-form Morata was constantly sidelined for a forward who has frankly been post-prime for most of his time under Zidane. It is hard to see Jović being able to do all of what Zidane wants out of his forward, meaning that the French manager likely has to adjust his tactics, whether that means playing Jović and Benzema together or finding new midfield structures. If not, don't be surprised to see Benzema keep his place over the promising Serbian striker. However, there is enough in Jovic's game to make a shift in tactics appealing for Zidane. Jovic's willingness to make runs off the shoulder will add a level of verticality to Madrid's game that's been missing for a full season. Jović would also immediately become the team's biggest box threat. Though he doesn't do anything super fancy, such as Ronaldo's dramatic zigzag fakes, Jović has a knack for hanging out in classic danger areas. He also specialized in sprinting hard towards the 6-yard box before stopping suddenly to create space to latch onto a cutback. This move is especially hard to cope with for non-elite defenders who tend to ball watch more. All this great movement and offensive positioning puts him in a good position to use his two-footedness, aforementioned aerial ability, and fondness of acrobatic scissor kicks to find the back of the net. The final two qualities, of course, would fit well with Zidane's cross-heavy approach. Jović could still be useful even if Zidane decides to switch up his final third strategy. Jović relishes running onto through balls, as it gives him an opportunity to exercise his love affair with chip shots, and is always eager to fire from the edge of the box at the slightest opening. In other words, Jović provides Zidane with a variety of scoring traits that are simply not present in anyone else on the squad. To top it all off, Jović adds some defensive value as well. Thanks to Frankfurt's high pressing system, he's developed a good work rate when it comes to getting back into position and shows some decent defensive discipline. He knows enough to block off the passing lane back into the center back once the ball is played wide, and he has a knack of dispossessing nearby players that don't have full control of the ball. He is also quite useful at protecting the near post on defensive corner kicks. Unfortunately, he shies out of most tackles and is beat off the dribble easily, but he has a solid defensive foundation that can be built upon with the right coaching. Thus, it is obvious that Luka Jović is a top quality striker, especially for his age, and that at 60 million euros, he is a steal. Still, Madrid fans should probably cool it with the generational talent talk. Luka Jović still has much to prove, and the Bernabeu will be a quantum leap from any footballing experience he has ever had before. Thanks for watching this week's School of Real Madrid video. If you like our work, please consider supporting us through our Patreon, and be sure to follow us on all our social media channels.